Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I am your host, Trevor, and today we're going to be talking all about the stock SoundHound AI. And recently, SoundHound has gotten themselves under some hot water, as it looks like there is a lawsuit building against this company. And so we're going to talk all about that today, as well as do a technical analysis of this company. But before I get into it, I want to say, as always, that this is not financial advice, and I always recommend that you do your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. So let's start out with the news about this lawsuit. And so just as this article says, according to the lawsuit, throughout the class period, defendants made false and misleading statements and or failed to disclose that, number one, the material weaknesses in SoundHound's internal controls over financial reporting impaired SoundHound's ability to effectively account for corporate acquisitions. And so in simplest terms, what this means is that SoundHound has either had some dishonest accounting or some sloppy accounting, meaning that it has been hard for them to actually get the true numbers when it comes to the acquisitions that they have been getting. And this is a negative if this lawsuit is true with what they're saying, because that means that on the financial sheet, what we have seen in SoundHound may not be the most accurate, meaning that their revenues might not be the most accurate, what they have gotten for these acquisitions, all of that. Number two, in addition, SoundHound overstated the extent to which it had remediated or its ability to remediate the material weaknesses in its internal controls over financial reporting. So basically what this is saying is that SoundHound said that they have already started to fix these issues, but they once again were incorrect about that, and they are actually further behind than they were saying. Number three, as a result of the foregoing material weaknesses, SoundHound reported goodwill following the Amelia acquisition was inflated and would need to be corrected. And so because of, just like we were talking about in number one and two, their accounting errors, they had overstated what they had in that acquisition. So basically, SoundHound wasn't being the most correct with their numbers, meaning that their acquisition may not be as valuable as they were claiming. Number four, further, SoundHound would likely require extra time and expense to effectively account for the Sync 3 and Amelia acquisitions, basically meaning that these took more time and money. Fixing these took more time and money than expected. Number five, the foregoing increased the risk that SoundHound would be unable to timely file certain financial reports with the SEC. And so basically, this is making them late on financial reports. And number six, as a result, SoundHound's public statements were materially false and misleading at all relevant times, basically saying that investors weren't getting the accurate information. So we were just talking about this recently with another small market cap stock that we talk about, Big Bear AI, and that is that their accounting hasn't been the best. And so us investors may have been misled on the balance sheet. What we have been seeing with the revenue or the debt being paid off may not be as accurate as what we thought. And so this means that either, again, the company has been purposely dishonest with their accounting, fudging some of the numbers, or it's purely just a mistake. And so what this tells me right here is that with investing into SoundHound, we need to proceed with caution. And so this is one of those situations where it's a high risk, high reward, or high risk, no reward. SoundHound, again, with all these accounting errors, it really has misled investors. And I'm sure there are a lot of SoundHound investors who bought at a much higher price because of a lot of these catalysts. Another bearish thing to think about with SoundHound AI is that NVIDIA no longer invests into this company. And so we do know that NVIDIA pulled out into their investment with SoundHound earlier this year. But the reason why this may be is that NVIDIA and SoundHound's partnership on a project has already happened. If you don't know what that project is, that is NVIDIA's chip with SoundHound AI's technology within this car here. So you can see this is coming from the SoundHound website, that they do have NVIDIA there. They did work on that project, but since that project has already completed, NVIDIA has pulled out of SoundHound. Just looking at the technical analysis, since NVIDIA pulled out their shares in SoundHound, there has only been bleeding in this company since. And so overall, SoundHound has taken a massive hit from their all-time highs around $24. As I record this video, just a couple minutes after market close, we are down to $8. So there's been a 60% retraction from the high that we saw in SoundHound. We are trading pretty low on the MACD and then also on the RSI. We could go a bit lower on the RSI. Let me pull myself off screen here. So we are low. We are at the 40s in the RSI, but we could potentially go lower, especially with this negative catalyst that we just got about this lawsuit. But what is positive, that is the bear case of SoundHound. But what is positive is when when we look at the bull case of SoundHound, let's remember that SoundHound does have a lot of big customers. So SoundHound is with all the restaurants, and as of October 31st of 2024, they had a big accomplishment as they processed over 100 million customer interactions for restaurants across the United States. These customers include Chipotle, Jersey Mike's, Applebee's, Habit Burger, and a couple others there. SoundHound is also working alongside a lot of big auto manufacturers. So they're with Mercedes, a couple other brands. And overall, on the bullish case with SoundHound, a big reason why this company was growing at the end of the year was because of their acquisitions they were getting. And overall, we could see that the revenue in SoundHound has been increasing. And so they did have their biggest quarters at the tail end of 2024. Their Q3 was fantastic, and so was their Q4. And we could just see by these numbers, it is looking positive as the debt has been paid down significantly. But that is the bull case. If the bears are right, and if this lawsuit is correct with what they are saying, a lot of these numbers may have been fibbed and may not be the most accurate, meaning that with SoundHound, we are now at a spot of uncertainty. And if there's anything the markets don't like, that is uncertainty. So I do expect SoundHound could possibly continue to bleed from here. If we do see SoundHound come out with their numbers and they aren't too accurate from what we have seen, if there doesn't have to be too much adjustments, we could see a bounce back in SoundHound. But as I am saying, I encourage investors to proceed with caution, as not only on technical analysis point of view on the actual chart of SoundHound has it been eaten up, but with this lawsuit, it's getting eaten up. And then overall, the macroeconomic trends that we have been seeing have been eating up almost all plays as well. And so SoundHound is a very high risk, high reward, high risk, no reward type stock. And during moments of retraction in the markets, when the markets are more bearish than bullish, that is a lot of the time when these more high flying stocks can really get eaten up. And there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets right now surrounding the tariffs that are supposed to come just the next couple days with the Liberation Day that Trump has been promoting. So overall, with SoundHound, I have been an investor since $4. I still do have faith in SoundHound. I do think they have a lot of intrinsic value, especially with the AI technology that they are offering for companies. But with stock investing, we can't just look at the intrinsic value or the positives. We always have to be aware of the downside risk as well and what is really happening in the background of a company. I am very bullish and positive on SoundHound AI's technology, but I don't like seeing that there is a lawsuit building up against SoundHound for some possibly sloppy or dishonest accounting. So I would love to hear what everyone else has to say about SoundHound in the comment section below. So please drop a comment on what you think about this lawsuit. If you're still bullish on SoundHound AI, if you're now bearish on SoundHound AI, what you think for the future. Please also leave a please also leave a like, and please subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.